So with some of the things that I'm about to say, I probably shouldn't record us, but you guys know I'm a rebel. I'm the Trump of Mary Kay. I just say anything. But I want to kind of tell you where somewhat some of this momentum came from, and she's going to talk a little bit about it. But about 9 months ago, our local area, our local team became part of my own personal experiment, and I don't know that if they realized it or not, but I thought that I could make a difference in our Mary Kay business and generate growth by doing what I'm about to tell you that we did. I knew I was onto something though when corporate America started calling us around November asking us what we were doing. So I knew that my theory was probably right. Since the beginning of my Mary Kay business, and this is where I probably shouldn't record this, but I'm just going to be real with you guys. I was not ever comfortable with the traditional Mary Kay meeting. I felt like it was, I'm going to have to take my glasses off because I can't see. I felt like it was overtraining consultants to be training consultants to be office managers versus field selling consultants. I would watch consultants come week after week after week and get trained and trained and trained on the same thing over and over and over again. And they would never go hold an appointment. And as you know, as I became a director, it was kind of like banging my head against the wall. And there were a couple of times in my career where I looked out and said, I have nothing else to train you guys. You've got to go hold some appointments and make some things happen. And so you see my frustration. So I didn't, as a consultant, I didn't bring guests comfortable. I was not comfortable bringing guests to the commercial retail buildings or hotel conference rooms. It kind of almost seemed like they were coming in to buy a timeshare, and I could sense it in their faces, and I was never ever comfortable with that. I think that's why I built a lot of my success was in the field, because I was around the product, around the kitchen table, and so I knew that would work. All the cheerleading and the rah-rah that happens at local meetings, this is my D personality coming in. But I thought it was silly. Like, why do you get excited about a ribbon or a $2 ring, but you just sold $300 and you can take $150 home to your family? I didn't, but I get everybody gets excited, but that environment, what I felt like, was not a place where we could go out and bring in a corporate woman like myself, and show her our $1 billion business. I mean, yes, Mary Kay attracts the attorneys, the physicians. We've even had, Karen Minton, if you've ever watched Channel 2, the meteorologist on Channel 2, I've actually ran into Karen Minton at our career conference before. So we are a place that we can attract sharp, professional, educated, highly successful women. But my D personality, I couldn't see it at that local meeting. And so, they would pump the consultants up, but then I felt like the consultants didn't know how to go hold an appointment. So my desire, and this was always my desire, was to always do it in a way that I felt like I would equip my consultants with all the tools that they needed to go out and be successful. And so all the moon and stars, of course, lined up in May, where I had my, our studio got bought out, and so we didn't have our lease anymore. It was all perfect timing. You guys didn't even know all that. My boys were leaving. I had some extra money from my mom's life insurance. We remodeled the basement, and I was finally in a position to put the studio together that I'd always wanted and create an atmosphere that was welcoming, inviting in my home, and I could do things my way, home-cooked meals. And what corporate has told me was that was the way Mary Kay did it. And they don't, I get not everybody can do it this way, But that was the way that I was in my zone. I was in my element, and I was not in a place that I was uncomfortable. And so I felt like for 19 years, unless I was out of town, I was uncomfortable in those situations. And the reason my out of town areas grew was because I didn't come into your town and do a formal meeting. I came into your town and I did a skincare class, a skincare class, a skincare class. And you were equipped to go out and hold a skincare class and make money. And that's why all of my out of town directors have stuck and they've thrived, versus my local directors have dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. And so I psychoanalyzed all of that, and we created a meeting that the way I wanted it. And it was confidence. It was building confidence. They were building field knowledge. I knew this would work because, like I said, this is how I built my out of town areas. And then Zoom became my business training. Zoom was always going to be my business training, where you could learn the office manager stuff, but being an office manager isn't going to sell product for you. And that's what that meeting had to be. It had to be where there were products being sold, people were making money. And I'll tell you, all of my director friends thought I was crazy. They think I'm nuts, but hey, here we are. We have a new offspring less than 9 months later, and it works. And we're on target for our pink Cadillac. And so, who's laughing now? Tami, I'm turning it over to you.
Let me unmute myself. Yes, and she's right on. Okay, so that's really where I saw a big, huge jump in my Mary Kay business. I work a full-time job. I've got 2 very busy boys. And so trying to fit in training nights and faces. And so with what Michelle has done, she's allowed me to get it all in. And when she first opened the basement studio, I sat out and I told my family, I said, I'm working those nights. So just be prepared. I will not be home those nights. And so anyway, it worked. I mean, here we are. So I'm so excited. And I'll tell you, the last 3 months have been crazy, because not only did I finish DIQ, my family moved 2 hours away, and my son also finished his senior year as a wrestling champion, which he's been striving for the last 4 years. So it's been crazy, a crazy February. He finished on top, and now I'm finished. So I texted Michelle after my son won the championship, and I said, okay, he's a champion, so now it's my turn. It's my turn to finish. So we did. So pretty excited. Of course, along with Michelle's help, her teachings, everything she says works. You just have to follow her. But along with her, and I've got a very great, strong team behind me, and that's really helped between my team, Michelle, my customers. That's what really kind of pushed us over that finish line. So, but Michelle and I were talking just the other day. Actually, it was late Saturday night after I finished, and she did bring up a very, very valid point. There was an event, I think it was in November. Yes, it was November, because I went into DIQ December 1. But it was the Coweta Christmas event. And for some reason, someone couldn't make it, so she asked if I could do it, and I did. And I'll tell you, other than, the studio nights, that event right there changed everything. Actually, we have 3 new team members because I worked that event. So working those events, that event, and also I did another baby expo in October, November, that helped too. But yeah, if Michelle and I were talking, if I had not made it to that Christmas event, where would we be today? So it was a game changer. But Michelle did reach out to me at one point in time, and she said, Tami, it's time. She saw the window of opportunity, and she said, it's time. And so we went with it, and we ran with it. And like I said, once again, with my team, we were able to finish. I had had some that were just personal use, and some of the ones that were personal use, they stepped the game up. I have one that actually became a red jacket in February, and she was just a personal use, but she was a friend too, and she saw where I was going, and I mean, she stepped her game up to help me cross that finish line too. And then I had some inactives, so just getting out there and touching base with them, encouraging them to get active, really helped as well. But we showing up for the nights at the studio, and then I also threw in as many as possible nights I could at my Noonan house, because we had moved. So I was still going back and forth to Noonan. I mean, wished it had sold sooner, but thankful that I had it. So I would go spend nights in Noonan, and I would do it several times a week, as many times as I needed. So, I'd go to Michelle's nights. Sorry, I've got a kid sneaking in behind me. I would go to Michelle's nights, and then, some weeks I would have a night at my house too, just for my consultants and my team members and my customers and guests that I had could show up too. So we worked. We really worked in December, January, and February. And let's see. Another thing that I did that really helped too, when I knew I was trying to go into DIQ in November, I did the Pink Friday sale, and had a really great Pink Friday sale, best that I've ever had. But then again, this time I actually followed everything Michelle said to do, and it worked. I had a great sale. In the past, I didn't quite follow everything she suggested, but I did this time, and we had a great sale. And I looked at my husband and I said, I know we can use this for Christmas, but I really need this for my business. I said, I want to take all of it. I said, I need to set it aside so that I can be sure to meet the production numbers I need and to do what I need to do with it. So that was one thing I did throughout DIQ is I was able, which of course I'm still working full time, so I was able to take my sales from my Mary Kay business and just set it aside and put it back into my business. And that really helped get across that finish line, and also with production. And when make a list. So when Michelle said, here's your opportunity, we sat down, I made a list. I made a list of my consultants. I made a list of my inactives. I made a list of my go-to people that I had I had a list of my possible recruits, those that I thought I could get to join. And then I had my go-to people. Those are my people that I'd be like, hey, look, I need one more, just one more. And so we worked that list, and I kept updating that list. It looked terrible. I've redone it several times, but between the team and the production, I just kept my list and I kept updating it. And I'll tell you, I did have two that were like, okay, I'll be there. I'm going to do this for you. February 29th, you can hear the crickets chirping. I was like, you're not answering my call. You're not answering my text. What? What am I going to do? But I also had my other emergency people that I could call at 10 o'clock at night and say, hey, I need you now. So fortunately, because I wasn't going to lose it over just one or two people, by no means, but they came through. They actually came through. When I was about ready to make that call, they actually sent me a text and said, hey, yeah, let's do this. So I was like, yes, I was sweating it. And then I had several, I've actually got two for sure, that they were some of my friends, and they're like, oh, they were customers, great customers. No, I don't want to do that. But I talked to them, and they joined for personal use. Well, since February 29th, I've gotten texts and messages from them. Hey, what do I need to do if I want to sell? What if? And so I was like, yes, yes, I'll do whatever you want to do. So we'll take this at your pace. However you want to move it, we'll do it. So it's just the little miracles. But that's really the most of it. It's work it. I mean, my husband got tired of hearing me say, I gotta go to Noonan. He was like, are you gonna move up here with us? Or are you gonna just move back to Noonan?
Oh no.
Because when we moved, I was in DIQ, and yes, my goal is to build my business here, but I couldn't take the time to do it. I had to finish DIQ, and I wasn't going to take a risk. So it did involve me going back and forth to Noonan, but we did it. It took a lot of work, and especially that last week, it was very stressful. My anxiety levels were up at the top, but yeah, in the end, I finished that Saturday night, and then I was like, okay, no. So then Sunday, it was like it was all sinking in, and then I was like, we did it. But yeah, that's about it. Just work it, and just follow Michelle. She knows what she's talking about.
Thank
She
you.
did tell me at one time. She said the hardest thing is to get your 10. Well, fortunately, I got to come in with 8. She said the hardest is going to get your 10. You get your 10, and everything will come in after that. And it did. It really did.
Awesome. So you guys, Tammy's production was never an issue. I know some people, and Marianne would know what I'm talking about. They always did production with ease. It was smooth as butter. So she probably has had, I know she said she was stressed at the last week, but don't let her fool you. She had the easiest DIQ that I have ever seen. Mine was pretty smooth. Everybody used to tell me that I had the smoothest, but hers was very, very smooth. And it's because of the window. She listened and she did everything I said to do. When we saw that window opening, and I'm sure some of you are saying, well, what do you mean by a window opening? I'm just going to be very clear. She had a hot shot. And I'm like, if you don't get to your 8, you're going to lose all those people that your hot shot is bringing in. And she was like Speedy Gonzalez. And so that's what we mean when we say a window is opening. And then I was the one that couldn't make the Christmas event. Basketball had started, and there was a game that wasn't on the schedule that all of a sudden appeared. And I called her and I said, and y'all, usually it was a God thing, because Tammy is usually just as busy that time of year as I am. And I'm like, she was the first one I went to. And I said, hey, can you do this? And she said, yeah. And it just so happened that she made a connection. I couldn't have made that same connection. She knew the person that signed up, and then that, like, 2 other people came, so 3 people came, and then the amount of production that came from there was probably, almost $6,000 in production. And so that's a lot, just because she went to do one vendor event. So y'all, if you get one name at an event, and I've always said this, Marianne knows, be happy, because the power of one. Gosh, we should name our unit that, the power of one, because I've always preached that. God will bring you the people that you need when you need them, when you are ready to receive them. And she was ready to receive them. And so I'm just so proud of her. I mean, the leadership, she just rose to the occasion with her leadership. I never ever doubted her ability to lead her people. Her people listened, and just an amazing group. Tami and the Top Guns. And so I'm just so excited. And you guys, think about this. You're all listening to this. You all have the ability to do this. Tami, I pulled up Tami's start date. Tammy's start date as a brand new consultant was February 20th. Hold on, I wrote it down. February 24th, 2016. So a little over 4 years ago. But if you ask her right now, how long did it take you to become a sales director? she's going to say probably 4 months, the month that she decided, and then the 3 months that she took to finish. And we've always said that too. When you go around asking directors, how long did it take you to become a sales director? They don't tell you the day they came in to be a consultant. They tell you the day they made up their mind and they decided in their heart that that is what they wanted. And then it was done within 6 months. And so that is all it takes. Okay. And so if you're sitting here right now with 0, and let's just be clear, Tami's original 8 were not her superstars. Her superstar came from one of her personal use that it was Crystal. Crystal knows. She knows she's the hot shot. It was Crystal, and that we literally stopped Crystal because we couldn't get her consultant to follow up fast as that we wanted. So I found her number and started stalking her, and it's follow up is the key. I'll say that too. But it was just it was an amazing journey to watch, Tami. I'm so proud of you. Marianne, do you want to share anything or say anything to Tami?
Yeah, Tami. So I highlighted the stuff I wanted to mention. So you mentioned, you work a full-time job. What do you do, Tami?
I am a large commercial account manager. My hours are supposed to be 40 hours a week, but yeah.
It's more than that. Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then,
yes.
Yeah. And so during DIQ, you guys moved and you still had the old house. So you're telling me how long of a drive did you have to Michelle's? Was that 2 hours?
2 hours. Yes.
Okay. So at least twice a week, you're driving 2 hours, 4 hours. Let's just be real. 4 hours driving, yes. 2 hours meeting. You're gone 6 hours in the evening after a full day of work.
Yes.
Okay. And then somehow doing that around boys' schedules. And then
and getting the house ready for the market and the move and wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is literally, when I hear that you were maxed out. And so I want to know, Tami, what got you, you talked about anxiety. I know a lot of people deal with that, on a real level and stuff. So I want to hear, Tami, how did you get through that? Because that usually paralyzes people, and they usually take the Mary Kay and chuck it out the window because it's the easiest thing to let go. So how did you power through that?
Well, for one, I reached out to Michelle Byers quite often. I called her and gave her updates quite often, so that we knew I was heading in the right direction, getting advice from her, what I needed to do, what I needed to change, what else I needed to add. And I committed to DIQ, and I did not want to fail. So it was one of those things. I started it, and I just didn't want to look back and say, sorry, I didn't make DIQ. I didn't make it. And so that was another thing. And of course, the big, strong support with my family too. That was a huge, but I mean, even though my husband hated my being gone quite often. But yeah, but the calls, keeping in touch with Michelle quite often really helped.
Yeah. And then the last one, I was going to say, so just thinking how, if you were to share this with other people, why, if they feel called to be a director, it's not for everybody right away, but, for some people, they feel that call. What do you feel like if you didn't do this, looking back now, what do you think you would regret missing out of had you not done this?
What would I regret missing out on if I had not done this? The experience alone, just the challenge, and just getting there and doing it. And still, Michelle mentioned something the other day when we met, and she's like, yeah, when we go to a career conference, the director's room, I was like, oh, that's right, I get the director's room. Yes. So, I mean, but I mean, it was a challenge. It was a lot of hard work. It really was. But Michelle says it went smoothly, and it did. It really did. A lot of things lined up for me, but there was still, for someone that was as busy as I was in that time, it was still a lot of work. But everything lined up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Grateful to
Tammy,
have you, Tami.
yes. So Tammy has surrounded herself with great quality friends that even if they were personal use, they would do anything for her. And it's because of the kind of person that she is. She's a woman of excellence. And so when she called upon them to do her a favor, whether it was, to step it up, whether, they just didn't wanted, whether they saw the vision or not, they were going to do whatever it took to help Tami. And that just says, gosh, it just says a lot about her and how much people love her. And so this is about building relationships. We've always said that. And so, she's built relationships even before Mary came. I mean, these friends are the people that were with her original 8, they're her friends from outside of Mary Kay. And, they came along on this journey with her, and just amazing, amazing women to be women of excellence and women of their word. Like, they told her they would do it, and they helped her, and they came through. And it goes back, like I said, to building those relationships, and being someone that people want to follow. That's what a leader is. So I'm very, very proud of you, Tami, and your Top Gun team.
Yes. It's my team. It's all of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody want to ask Tami any questions? Well, you can type it out and I can read it for you.
And I'll say one thing too. I know Marianne had asked on a Zoom several weeks ago about how was I tracking everything. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I've got it right here. No, I don't. We just got in from Noonan. We had to drive down to Noonan. I had a party today and some other things, but it's just a little black notebook, the one that Michelle gave us at January Jumpstart. That's my notebook. I mean, that's all it took. And then just making my list. When I said my list, this is my final last list. So see, it's nothing special. I mean, just get your notebook, keep everything in your notebook, and make your list, and that way you know who to follow up with too.
And you guys, and know that you have a $1 billion company supporting you. And so, like we were talking about, some of her personal use that were like, hey, they're kind of excited now, they're kind of on board. They were getting, Carrie, she recruited Crystal. She was getting amazing bonuses because of Crystal. And then that got her excited. And then she, had 2 more. She became a red jacket, and she got a red jacket bonus. And so, you guys, we have a lot to offer people. We have to understand the bonus structure to be able to explain it. So when new people come in, they can see the money. And now we have those instant bonuses that go almost instantly into your account when you hit them. And that can get people excited, and they can see the money, they can see it quicker. I mean, granted, we do see with sales, we see that money instantly, but then that team building, I've always said your sales, that's your grocery money, your gas bill money, your light bill money. But building that team, that's your future paying off your mortgage. That's your big ticket items. That's maybe your lake house one day. That's your kids, private school or college tuition. You got to teach your team to think outside the box and understand this marketing and how they get paid, so that you can show them and they can get excited. Because that's what, if Carrie hadn't got excited, she became a red jacket. Crystal was a red jacket. And if you guys were on my call, a few months ago when I said, I'm going to give you all the secrets to DIQ, and I did, we didn't record it. But that's what I said. If you can get 3 people to move to red, you and those 3 people can finish it. And she had 2 red jackets, and Taylor was 1 shy of a red jacket. Y'all, you can't get any better right there. I told you, we know what we're talking about, and you just follow our lead, and it will be done. And do the work, and just do the work. and it's amazing. And so Tami will get to experience her first director check this month, and I'm so excited. And we both get to pick up a Kate Spade handbag and Kendra Scott earrings with matching Kendra Scott necklace to match our director suit. And we'll be walking across stage with 10,000 women screaming, and they'll announce Tami's name as a brand new sales director. And so are you excited? Are you excited about that, Tami?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm thrilled.
All right, let's see. Do we have any questions? Anybody? This is your chance. All right, guys. Well, it's recorded. I hope Mary Kay doesn't go in and listen. I don't like the traditional meeting. I'm the rebel. It paid off. Okay, guys. Thank you for zooming in, and you guys have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Tami. You did great.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.